I think this is a pasuk about your favorite topic, Isaac.
Oh, what is
Al tehavtena pen tivaresh, v'kach inecha saval lachem. You want to try that?
Yeah, do not love sleep, lest you.
Metzudas ציון, I think, gives you a definition that's easier than the
rush
dictionary.
on the oak, lest you become poor.
Yes, lest you become poor. What's
Yeah.
rush? Rush is poor. I always forget the connotations of like rush, ani, dull. I don't really know, but we'll just say poor for now.
I think the only thing I remember of those three is dull, which I think he says like very poor.
Oh yeah, that does sound familiar.
Yeah. Pikach inecha saval lachem. Does pikach mean to like open?
Yeah. Metzudas ציון says it's the same name. Pasuk. Yeah.
Open your eyes, be satiated with bread.
Open your eyes and be satiated with bread. Yeah. Okay, good.
Because your eyes eat. How's my favorite topic?
Sleep.
Oh yes. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were tying back to my comment about complaints.
Oh no. No. Okay. Sadigon, the only thing Sadigon does is he changes be satiated with bread to tisparnes, like be sustained or like you'll earn your livelihood. I did not read the Targum, I just copied and pasted it. Lo tarachim shinta, I assume that means don't love sleep. Dilma sitmatkin, maybe you will become poor. So he changes the pen. I mean, I guess that's kind of like a maybe, whatever. Pasach inach utzva lachma, right? That's just straight translation, nothing new there. Art scroll, do not love sleep lest you become impoverished. Open your eyes, and then in brackets, then you will be sated with food. All right, they say lachem is food. Living nach, do not love sleep lest you become impoverished. Keep your eyes open, and you will have your fill of food. So that's keep your eyes open. Makes it sound like you should never go to sleep. I would have thought open your eyes. Both. I mean, first of all, that's like a straight translation, but then it means like if you're like asleep, wake up. Not don't go to sleep. That's weird. And then altar says, do not love sleep lest you lose all your worth. What? Okay, that altar. All right. Okay. Keep your eyes open and be sated with bread. All right. We're gonna ignore. No. Okay. Alrighty. We kind of had a pasuk similar to this with the ant thing, right?
Yeah.
But we'll have to open our eyes to the nuances of the pasuk. Yeah. What?
And be satiated with bread.
Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah. Okay. What do you say? Questions?
How does sleep cause you to become impoverished?
Well, this is the interesting thing, right? It's love of sleep.
Oh, you're right.
Right? Yeah. So I guess first of all we have to ask, what is love of sleep?
Yeah.
Right? And then how does love of sleep cause you to become impoverished? And I guess you could break that down into two questions or into two possibilities. Is it that love of sleep just makes you sleep more and then sleep makes you impoverished? Or is there some quality about the love of sleep itself that brings about the poverty? Yeah.
The feeling I'm getting from this is like this is like the impression I'm getting of like what love sleep is.
Yeah.
Like actually, I'm not even gonna say that. I'm just
Okay.
gonna say something. I'm gonna put a case on the table.
Okay.
When you're like, your alarm goes off and you're like, then you have to get up.
Yeah.
And you're like entrenched in sleep and you're like just stay in bed for another like 10 minutes and then you're like wait whatever it is that you need to go to.
Right. So I guess the question that you're implicitly asking is what circumstances, or I guess what circumstances, if any, what specific circumstances, if any, is the pasuk addressing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, is this just about love of sleep in general, or is this like about a particular time when this comes up, What specific circumstances, if any, is this pasuk addressing?
What does open your eyes mean? Is it wake up? Is it don't love sleep?
Yep.
Or is it like something else?
Yeah. Is it don't go to sleep. That was one of the translations mentioned that. Yeah. It's also interesting that Impoverished. Maybe this is a particular question. Impoverished means lest you become poor, but then Sva lachem does not mean you will become satiated with bread. It's a command. Sva lachem, be satiated with bread. That is, I guess I'm going to ask it anyway in case it's relevant. Why is Sva lachem in Sivui form as opposed to being stated as an outcome?
The anti-keto pasuk.
Yes, it is. That's why I hold the translation as food, not bread. Noting lechem l'chol basar. Does God really give bread to the birds and to the fish? Nope. He gives food.
It's one of the things he has man throw breadcrumbs to.
And to the antelope and to the eagles. Just because you found a couple species. Yeah. I just picked bad examples. Yeah. Yeah.
Impoverished. I feel like pen is usually something that you end up doing, like lest you end up breaking a branch, as opposed to let the circumstance end up coming about. I don't know if that's true, but that's like the sense I get.
Yeah, I have that sense also. It's
right.
Like, it's a step removed. It's not like it's the consequence.
Or you think it's a step removed, or you think it's a step closer? Like it's more directly tied to your action?
I think I would expect it to be like tied to an action. Like if it said, "Don't love sleep, lest you end up not working and becoming poor."
I see. Right. Yeah. So let's put that into the question about how does love of sleep cause you to become impoverished? What is implied by the pen? By pen. Yeah. Okay. And then I think the only other question is what is the cause and effect relationship between pakach einecha and sva lachem? Because there's stuff in between. It's not like you just open your eyes and then suddenly you're full. You don't need to eat breakfast. Yeah. It's also interesting to compare Impoverished and Sva lachem, which might be why Sadigun translates it as parnata, because Sva lachem, the opposite of that is you'll starve, and the opposite of Impoverished is you'll become wealthy. I'm gonna ask that also, just in case. How are Impoverished and Sva lachem opposites? Yeah.
So I think this is a minor question, but why is the whole pasuk in the imperative? And at least like 90+% of the things that we've seen are statements about a phenomenon, and then you can derive from imperative.
Why is this entire pasuk stated in the imperative when most of Mishlei is not? Okay, so thinking time. Yeah.
You mean by the imperative? You mean as opposed to saying the one who loves sleep becomes poor?
Exactly. Yeah. And most of Mishlei is like that. That was what מאירי says, that he says half of the tochacha. What did he say? Oh, pointing out the benefit is half pointing out the consequence is half of the tochacha, and pointing out the benefit is half of the musar, or half of the he'ara, half of the lesson. And that's like the style Shlomo takes usually. Not all the time, but usually. Yeah.
I feel like that could be shortened into a very like pithy American proverb.
Yeah. We'll wait for someone to do it. Yeah.
If you're watching this recording and you feel like you feel like you want to, that'll be good.
Just for yourself, you don't need to let us know. I gotta pause this 1 second here. Okay. So I think we have to start with the love of sleep. Because clearly you need to sleep. But what does it mean? And your desire to sleep really should be based on how much sleep you need. So love seems to be intrinsically like excessive when it comes to sleep. Like you love it. It'd be like if someone, I mean, again, it's maybe not the best example, but it's like if someone said that they love going to the bathroom, it's a bodily necessity. I mean, and like, sure, there's like a certain like pleasure associated with it, but like you love it. That's a little weird, you know.
I've heard guys say that.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that's when the Chazal say that, right? Is that Olam Haba? One of the comparisons to Olam Haba is going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a weird one, but.
I mean, I feel like the very simple like understanding.
Yeah.
It's like too obvious even.
No, go ahead, say it.
Is that like if someone loves sleep, that's going to cause them to, not get up to go to work,
right?
Do the things they need to do.
Yeah.
They're just going to be involved in sleep.
Right.
I was also thinking like Isaac, like extra sleep in the morning.
Yeah.
You guys can get up at 12 o'clock every day. Like he's just,
right.
He'll end up impoverishing himself.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's like an extreme circumstance, but
yeah. Oh, let me register a prediction. The prediction will be that the Meiri is going to apply this to Chachma. And that's not a far-fetched prediction, but I feel like becoming impoverished is like really lends itself to that, like because that's a statement of Chazal, like Ein ani ela b'das, the only person who is poor, the only poverty is in terms of knowledge, and that definitely is the case of like waking up and like going to shir or whatever, yeah.
That was a good prediction, and I feel like the fact that you specified that about the thing about poverty makes it not like a generic prediction.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I've never done this puzzle before, so we'll see. It's not like it's like in the back of my mind,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was thinking like this is right up Rashi's alley to say like lechem is Torah.
Oh yeah. I bet that's a good prediction also. Yeah. Although sometimes Rashi surprises you and just gives like a plain shot when you expect him to do something like that. Yeah, I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's anything bad about the interpretation. Yeah, if you're addicted to sleep, and you're allowing your desire for sleep. Sleep could be a practical thing,
right?
But if you're allowing your desire, either the pleasure of the sleep itself, or the pleasure of going back to sleep, or the pain of like facing the day, if you allow, pain of facing the day, I don't think that is as much of a shock because love seems to be a positive thing. So the pleasure of sleep or the pleasure of going back to sleep, or the pleasure of staying in bed, all these things can interfere with your ability to do what needs to be done. And over time, that's going to end up like interfering with your ability to sustain yourself. Yeah.
Right. So I just want to point out a distinction, which
yeah.
One. Not, I don't know if this is necessarily talking about. Like I don't know what this looks like practically.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if a person is sleeping a lot because of practical necessity,
mm-hmm.
I don't think that that's love of sleep.
No, I thought that's what I was saying. That practicality.
Yeah,
is not love of sleep. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just talking about that. So I'm saying.
Yeah.
And therefore, if a person is, I don't know if like you have two people who are sleeping the same amount, and one person is doing it because of love of sleep, and then that's pasuk applies, or if it's a person who has love of sleep is going to sleep more.
Yeah, I definitely think it's the sleeping more, but the decision that, in other words, if that person who loves sleep just happens to get the right amount of sleep, that's an accident. Like the driving force behind what governs their sleep is going to be the love of it. Otherwise we wouldn't characterize that as the love of sleep. I don't think. Yeah.
Why can't you love something that you need to practically do? Like let's say a guy eats purely for nutrition, like to function, but he happens to love eating also.
Right.
And yet he manages to.
Right. That's true. You could love it for that reason. I guess I'm saying that contextually here, if it's telling you that you're going to become poor, then the implication is excessive or love that carries you to excess. But you're right. You could love doing what is good, in a good state. Okay, so P'kachei Necha, does this answer P'kachei Necha then?
Yeah, like get up, open your eyes.
Yeah.
Like enter the day, and don't become poor. Don't.
Right. But what I'm wondering though is like, so P'kachei Necha is what you do when you wake up, but is there a reason why it's phrased as P'kachei Necha?
That's what's like kum.
Yeah, right. It might not be. I mean, it might just be.
I'm gonna qualify what we were saying before a little bit. That there's like some time when a person's like sleeping, and then there's like like kind of like lingering in bed, not in like a where you're not like asleep, you're not like fully awake either. You're just like letting yourself just like lie there and like kind of like choosing to like not be conscious. I think that's love of sleep is like, it's not like a person is sleep like going to bed at 8 p.m. and then like just naturally like waking up at 12.
Yeah.
But it's like like kind of waking up and just deciding to like stay in bed.
Right. So I think that does fit in really well with the phrase love of sleep, because you can't you're not conscious when you're sleeping, so you're not actually experiencing enjoyment while you are asleep. So the way that it manifests itself is loving the prospect of sleep or loving things associated with sleep. And so sometimes when you're lying in bed, it's because you hope to fall back to sleep, like when you're lying in bed in that half awake state. But then sometimes it's just like you want to retain the state of sleep by association, even though you're not actually enjoying the sleep. You want to be attached to that as long as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, this comedian, I feel like I've quoted this in this year actually. I don't remember who said it, but he basically says like along the lines of, I don't know what happens when I'm sleeping because I'm sleeping, but I love going to sleep and I hate waking up. So I'm pretty sure I love sleep.
Yeah. That's funny. I don't remember that quote, but that was really funny. Yeah. So then the weird thing, so let's just, again, this does seem like a pretty straightforward puzzle, but let's just ask the basic thing of Impoverished and Saval Lachen. Is that going to help a guy who is addicted to sleep? Because you do need to get into pretty dire circumstances in order to actually become poor. That seems to be extremism, And similarly, waking up is not necessarily going to make you satiated with bread. Fine, you're going to go to work or whatever, but why state in the it seems like there's a certain danger of overstating whenever you're trying to talk to the emotions. Sometimes overstating the case will scare them into action, but sometimes it's like, oh, that's not realistic. I'm not going to become poor,
Yeah. This is talking about the Kafinecha.
Yeah.
So we're saying is the reason it's Kafinecha not get up is because you're trying to retain the sleep this semi-sleep state.
Yeah.
When you're also kind of awake, so it's just opening your eyes.
Yeah, right. You're right. It ends up being very good because you can't psychologically be in that state when your eyes are open. It doesn't allow you to do that. You can enjoy the relaxing comfort of lying in bed, but people who are in that state that you're talking about are closing their eyes. They're not doing it with their eyes open. So it's forcing you to do the first step. And it could be that that's why it states it in the extreme of Saval Lachen, meaning that the internal process of zridut, which reaches its success in being satiated with bread, starts off with this very, very mundane, simple act of just opening your eyes. For me, ever since I can remember, which is probably third grade, which is when I got glasses, the act of putting my glasses on wakes me up, because I associate it with seeing, if my eyes when they're open don't do anything. Yeah.
It's the same for me. And I don't have a very strong perception.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've noticed that sometimes if I'm feeling tired, I'll take off my glasses and I'll realize that they're dirty. I'll have to clean them, and then I'll
I have the same thing also. Yeah, taking off the glasses puts me into the
Yeah, but I'm saying when my glasses are dirty and my vision is a little blurry.
Yeah.
And I'll be feeling more tired.
Yeah.
And then cleaning them makes me feel more awake.
Oh, okay. I see. I have the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we check out the parking? I feel like we've kind of gotten the basic idea, but I don't know.
Yeah, I just want to throw one more thing out there. That also it could be. It doesn't seem like this is directly what it's saying, but as a circumstance, as a end result, the guy loves sleep, and let's say he's sleeping in every day, so he's not going to be able to work a regular job with normal hours because most jobs start on 9 to 5. You know? So he's going to have to resort to let's say other means of making money.
Yeah.
And then he's going to go to sleep late because he woke up late. Yeah. And he's just going to it's going to ultimately just end up in a cycle of making money in atypical ways, going to sleep late, which is, going to end up awake at night, with the bandits and whatever. Whatever. He's just going to be involved in bad things.
Yeah. That's a good shot. Meaning that it's not that the 5 minutes that you're late is going to cut your paycheck in half directly. It's that because of this the inability to start your day on time, that will force you into different options of parnasa that are not as lucrative because the early bird gets the worm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like when people are like, oh, I was interested in that machine learning class, but I couldn't take it because it was a morning class.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a new idea.
Right. Or maybe not even less lucrative, but less sustainable.
Yeah, right.
Like you could resort to gambling. Let's
Right,
say, you
right.
could do it all
Right,
hours.
meaning it generally speaking, you're going to be provided with fewer options, and that could drive you into bad alternatives.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
So I think that also explains the lechem, although I don't know why it's phrased in that way.
Yeah.
In that if you're in these bad alternatives, then you're not necessarily going to be able to necessarily be get all the food you need or anything
Yeah.
like that because you're working odd hours and
Right. Right. Yeah, that's good. All right, let's look at the question now. Start with Mrs. David. We are on 13. So he says, painti baresh, but the eighth hashena to batal mina malacha. Okay, so at the time of sleeping, you're going to be batal from work. Okay, that's plain shot. Pasuk, open your eyes. L'ma'it bisgiras einaim b'shena, to minimize the closing of the eyes in sleep. The az tif ba'alachim, then you'll be satiated with bread. The ne'emar l'mashal eisek Torah. Yeah, so that's something that is more direct, meaning that is more of a 1-to-1 ratio. That the less time you, let's say again, in learning in the morning, right? The later you come to morning seder, the less time you are learning, and it adds up. Let's say you lose a half an hour. Let's say you come a half an hour late to morning seder every morning. So that's 2.5 hours every week, and then that really adds up in terms of the entire year. It's a scary amount. Full chain if you're an hour late. Yeah. So I'm not saying you can't apply your idea also, because this could apply the class example that you mentioned, but I think that it is more of an immediate thing here, and it really is if you're being paid by the hour for a job and you miss an hour, you feel that loss.
Yeah.
It should be like that with Torah also, even more so. Okay, let's do Rבינו Yona. Yugamo. Alta Shena Penti Barish, talking about Usra Lachem. Hine pasuk hazeh shel ozen shoma'as. Did we read Rבינו Yona on ozen shoma'as yesterday? Oh no, we didn't because of this, because he connects it. Same Ramafta. So hine pasuk hazeh shel ozen shoma'as. This pasuk of a hearing ear and a seeing eye, Hashem made them both. Hu ta'am lacher yasir alav b'pasuk shel acharav. That pasuk is the reason for what is being warned in the pasuk afterward. Al ta'av shena penti baresh. I would not have said that. We think our pasuk today is the pasuk yesterday is the reason for the pasuk today. Let's see what he says. Hine Hashem is Allah nata ozen ba'adam. I love that verb. He planted the ear in man. Someone have to go plant some ears. V'yatzar ayin lahasagas ha'emes b'midos u'v'deos. And he planted the ear and he created the eye for the apprehension of truth in midos and in deos, in character traits and in ideas. Why should people these limbs that were created, disturb, mess up these limbs that were formed with their actions or from their actions? I don't know exactly what it means. Ki yatzar einaim liros ulhis orav lepot v'chachma ulahafzik v'malacha v'lo yachzuhu yemei oni. Because he formed the eyes to see and to be stimulated and to grab onto chachma and to grasp work and not to be grasped by days of poverty. When a person sleeps more than necessary, and more than is proper for him, he is putting to rest the work of the limbs that are in him. He's saying that God gave you eyes and ears to use, but if you sleep, you're not going to use. You're not going to be using them.
Yeah, well, I think he's taking like the type of approach that we said yesterday. It's saying Hashem made these, and like therefore you should like put them to like proper use.
Yeah.
And then he's saying, and so don't sleep away the day.
Right. But what about the nose? There's no gum here. Alkane Amar, Altav Shena Impoverished, and that's why it says don't love sleep lest you be impoverished. Possession Hiskir Ayin Roa, Lo Hiskir Yad Poelis Regel Mehalechas. Oh, he goes into the nose territory a little bit. Why does it say seeing eye and it doesn't mention acting hand or a walking foot? Mipnei Mipnei Hayad Haregel Enam Poelos Poelis. That's what we were saying yesterday also, is that the hand and the foot don't operate at all times. They're ready to act when needed. Therefore, the eye, however, the eye acts and sees at all times. But only when it's asleep does it cease from its activity. Regarding the midah of the ear, it doesn't need to warn about it now. I was also wondering that if he's linking to pasukim, it doesn't say it like your ear is going to be not functioning when you're asleep. Shekvar he's here lamalav amar or einayim yismach lev v'gomer ozen shema tochach kain. Already warned about it above. Kasher pirashim b'mukomam, like we explained above. Okay, fine. I feel like that's a cheap move. Saying that there's an earlier pasuk Mishlei that talked about it. That's why you didn't talk about it here. I mean, I don't approach Mishlei that way. I'll tell you that much. Just because you can find another pasuk somewhere else earlier that talks about it doesn't mean that like it's not a question on this pasuk. Umachi is here, but pasuk shamala Hashem osa gam shnehem. Hashem makes both of them. Bir gam shnehem ki ma'alas ozen yisir al malas ayin kasher pirashim b'pasuk me'orinayim. Okay, I do not like this Rבינו, Yona.
Yeah, there's a short Meiri.
Okay, short Meiri. Well, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
One small paragraph.
Okay. Did we do the Ozen thing yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Okay, yeah. Okay, so the Meiri says, Al te'ahav shena pentivaris pekach enachas la'alachem he'ara klalis lihizdares l'malachos l'fia nigleh. So according to the nigleh meaning, it's arousing you, motivating you to do malachos. O l'lamed chachma l'fia nistar, right? Or to learn chachma according to the hidden meaning. Pentivaris min hamamon o min hachachma. Amram Zal, my ani badas. There you go. All right, good. Right, who's poor? Someone who's poor in knowledge. Ha'amid ene sichlacha pesuchos. So he is learning it the way that was living not learned it. Keep your eyes open. Keep the eyes of your intellect open. Usva lachem, and be satiated with bread. Im l'fia nigleh lechem mamish. According to the nigleh, it's literal bread. Sharmine hammechian and other types of sustenance, so food. Im l'fia nistar remez al limud hachachma kamo l'chu lachamu b'lachami. Go and bread my bread. Yeah, I think he's partake of my bread. So the one thing that he does change that here is the ha'amid ene siflacha psuvos. Keep your eyes open. So can we just think about that for a second in terms of both the nigleh and the nistar?
I feel like the nistar is more obvious.
Yeah.
In the ironic way.
In what?
In the ironic way.
Go ahead.
I think the nistar.
Oh, okay, that's the ironic part.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not more obvious in an ironic way. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. See, plain shot, I think it's just talking about the other side of sleep, right? Don't go to sleep early, like stay awake.
In terms of,
We want to say keep your eyes open.
Yeah.
So definitely in terms of the nistar, because people do the majority of their learning at night. That's what that's when they're supposed to do it. That's what the Chazal say. It's funny because now we're in a different circumstance, and not that we are inherently in a different circumstance, but like you couldn't do anything at night back then. So you could just go to sleep. You're not gonna watch TV. You can't like go out and do stuff. You're just gonna go to sleep, or you learn at night. Now there's like lots of distractions at night, and you could also keep working at night.
Yeah.
But
we're not as occupied by like farming.
Yeah, right. There's more more leisure. Yeah, that's the other thing also that's weird about it's very interesting because this is a side observation, is I feel like on a farm, there's always stuff to be done. And now people also feel like there's always stuff to be done, but it's coming from very different things. Because with a farm, and maybe this is just my romanticism farming, I don't know. Like with a farm, it is very tied to the practical. But with people's jobs now, I feel like the people who feel like there's always stuff that needs to be done, it's very like cohelesy, like ambition, like I can make more money, I can like get a head start on blah blah blah. It's not as tied to the like on a farm, things will like impinge upon you practically. Like at some point, I'm gonna have to like clean the stables. At some point, I'm gonna have to like go and like prepare the this thing for the winter. Like it's like those things are demands made upon you by reality, and it's just a question of like when you do them and how on top of it you are, or how much it is on top of you. But with like real estate or whatever, there's always more advertising that you can do. There's always more customers you can reach. There's always, it's like a infinite type of thing that is not directly dictating practical stuff. That's not so much about our pasuk, but yeah, what were you saying?
I have another thought about the
Keep your eyes open.
about love of sleep.
Mhm.
Going back to what we were saying before, when like in the middle of the day, if a person feels like they want to just not do anything, like person's like just like natural like energy like doesn't let them just be like okay with just doing nothing. But when a person is in that like half asleep state, then they can just let time pass,
right,
in a way that they can't.
Yeah, and I think it is exacerbated by the fact that sleep is a timeless state, and when you're half awake and half asleep, you kind of retain that feeling of timelessness. Yeah. So keep your eyes open. Does that change our meaning of the nigleh? Like, is that wanting you not to take naps? Because again, I'm working in the old framework of like, when it gets dark, you basically can't do work. So for the nigleh, it wouldn't make sense to say, don't go to sleep early, otherwise you're going to lose out on your work. Unless it's talking about sleeping during the day.
Yeah, I guess maybe sleeping like taking naps makes sense according to that. Like if you're if by taking naps you're deducting like I'd say by taking naps during the day, you're just deducting time that isn't like you're not gonna like get a like better time later.
Yeah.
And like it's just gonna detract from
right. Time. Also, we have to remember, and I don't know if your sleep guy addresses this, but whatever positive benefits there are to taking naps, it's very possible that that's only because of our insane society that like doesn't get enough sleep in general and is like up at night. If you were, let's say, going to sleep at like 6, and then like waking up naturally and like, would you need to take naps as much? I mean, I don't know.
I think a person's circadian rhythm naturally has like a dip.
Yeah.
Like the early afternoon. It might be like you take like a 15-minute nap or something.
Yeah. I wonder how old the minhag of siestas is in like Spain, because that is an institutionalized form of like, I know they don't just nap during a siesta, but that, that like, you eat lunch and then you everyone takes a nap or whatever, and then like you get back to work, Yeah, I would love that. Yeah.
It's good for people's health.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I also don't know. I don't know how much we want to like. I was willing to pause something this, but like I don't know how much people knew about like the science of sleep.
Yeah.
So like, it could be that like, if you don't, like I say, if you don't know that there's like a natural like health thing to taking naps, then if they're putting that aside, then you shouldn't be like, especially if you aren't staying up later because of lights and stuff.
Right. Then just taking time off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Let's look at the נחמיאש to see what he does with it.
You have to leave 10 minutes early.
Oh, that was yesterday. Unless I accidentally copied and pasted it for today. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I just got to change it. Alta Pena Impoverished, talking about Saval Lachan. Gamden Kasher Im Ha'elyon. So he says this is also connected to above. Lafi Hikir Ha'ozen V'ain. V'she Hashem Asa Gam Shnehem Al Kain Tiva Shalo Lahafriya Osam Ima Sehem V'shena Kilo lakach nivrao v'amar pekach inecha ki kvar kama pa'amim tziva al ha'ozen b'sefer hazeh. Right, fine. So that's just repeating it. Let's look at the Sefer Hukah to the right on the above the Mitzvahs. David al tehav shena pen tivaresh mehachachma ume osher b'shena. Okay, so he says both of them. Pekach inecha v'lo tishan, and do not sleep. That sounds like it's warning you not to go to sleep. V'tasig lechem l'mezonecha v'chachma lahachiyosecha. Ki bichlal lechem hachachma. Kmo shamar lehu lachamu v'lachami. Okay, fine. The same thing. Let's look at the real Ibn Ezra, the Ksav Yad above the Meiri. Al tehav shena lishon harbe. So that's sleeping a lot. Okay, so that's kind of what we said by the ahava. So that I think most directly addresses your question. Is if you love sleep but you're sleeping the right amount, then that's totally fine. It's just it leads you to sleep a lot. Penti varesh v'tihye ani, and you'll become poor. Ve'en lecha ma'atocha, and you won't have anything to eat. Pekach einecha. Oh, I have an idea. Okay, hold on. Open your eyes. V'darche ha'olam la'amel ulitroach v'tisba lachem. Okay, feel like he's saying something different here. Open your eyes in the ways of the world, to toil and to work and be satiated with bread. What is he adding by that? And then also, the tihye ani, the ein lecha ma'atocha. I don't know if I'm reading too much into this, but I mean, it could just be he's explaining what tivaresh means, you'll be an ani. But something in my mind leapt up when it said ani versus open your eyes to the ways of the world. So think about it for a little while.
I have a thought that you may be taking the pasuk a little too metaphor.
Okay.
Like, is it a phenomenon of just like being like very passive in the system?
Yes.
And just doing whatever, like as a structure, like you go to college because that's what the thing that you do is.
Yeah.
And then you like get a 9-to-5 job because that's what you do, and then you just work until you get a promotion, and and just doing whatever feels like the course that's laid out. Yeah. Without like thinking about what's going on and what makes analyzing what is like the best, like whether it makes sense to go to college or whether it makes sense, like what career to go into because
Yeah, I had a similar thought with the open your eyes to the ways of the world. Like this guy thinks that it's funny, actually, maybe what I'm saying is the opposite. I don't know. Well, you tell me. I feel like he's talking about the same thing. This guy does not want to face the fact that this is just a part of life, that you have to work every day, And so his attachment to sleep is coming from that, from the fact that he doesn't want to just face the fact that you have to go to work every day, Yeah, I feel like it's the opposite. What you were saying again?
I think it might be,
or maybe the same.
Might be an aspect of the same thing.
Okay, that's what I'm in doubt about. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, a person doesn't want to like. I'm saying a person doesn't want to put like cognitive effort into. Doesn't put cognitive effort into thinking about their career.
Yeah. Right. So that's a type of that's an aspect of it in the sense that like they just want to coast.
Yeah.
And not actually face the conflict that comes from making decisions about that. And I'm saying that this guy just wants to coast and somehow just be satiated with bread, but not want to be involved in like facing the tircha of the day,
Yeah, I guess the way that I combine the two. Yeah. Is that's like what you're talking about is the instance of this larger phenomenon. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's why it's saying it's talking to him in terms of the individual instance, but then it's pointing out the bigger phenomenon that you're going to be tivaresh and not self-halacha. Yeah.
The thing I had in terms of this with the ani, you'll be an ani. I'm trying to see if that fits in also. The fact that like you can the best way to pull someone out of this mentality is to say that you're going to be a different class of person if you do this. You're going to be a poor person You know, saying you're going to lose out on some opportunity to make money is just not going to affect the emotions as much. You know, but saying you're going to be, yeah, there's a way you're going to fit into the world. You're going to be poor. You're going to be a poor guy. You know, like that might be more motivating. Yeah.
That's just what you said that.
Poor guy. Yeah, poor guy. Yeah. Okay, so this puzzle was fairly straightforward, but I still think we got some like nice ideas. I really like the idea of the it's gonna force you into different options
Yeah.
for taking you away from good options and putting you into bad options because of this habit. And you're not gonna make that connection of like, oh, it's the habit that I have of the way I'm willing to sleep. You're gonna just chalk it up to circumstance, like, oh, that's just not in my pay. Like I just can't go to morning classes, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was actually something I was thinking about in terms of like there for me in real tech. Like I expect that like, you know, I might decide to take morning classes that like my classmates are gonna be like, yeah, I just can't take them because
Yeah.
because they're too early.
Right.
And like, you know, there's like a 9 o'clock class.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yep.
yeah,
And that's you can open your eyes and
yeah.
change. Yeah. All right. Good. Let's do this. No, you know, I'm not gonna do this. There's no reason to. I'll just stop it.